Hi, now you have applied for a remote job and the company has contacted you and they need you to come for an interview. So how do you prepare for this interview? What are the questions are you expecting that um, you'll get during the interview? Those are the things that you want to talk about, and I'm going to talk about them from a point of experience because I know it's not even over 1 week since I helped a company to vet their project manager. So mostly what I do is just to lead the team to achieve the goals that they need to achieve in the company. So the company comes with a vision, and then you get people that you need to vet in the company, and then after that you have them on board. Yeah, so that is what I'm a project manager. So I was just looking out for the company who can be the best person or who can be the best team, like having their best team together. All right. And so I'm going to talk about some of the questions that we were asking so that we can get the best team to come on board. And before that, let's go to the introduction. All right. So let's begin this video. So yeah, you've been given a job, you've already applied and you've gotten to the interview stage. And now after that interview stage is now, like, you're now at the interview stage. What do you do? What are the most common questions that you need to prepare for before you come for the interview? Okay, that is what we are going to talk about. Yeah. So have you ever applied for the interview for a job and you're not sure about the interviews? Because mostly the interviews are remote, so you don't know what to expect. It's a different culture. Maybe you're being hired from a company in the US, Canada, or in the UK, and you don't know what to expect from them. So I'm going to give you some few things that you can use to prepare for an interview, regardless of the job that you're going to apply for, regardless of your field. So in this video, I'll share most of the common remote work interview questions and how do you answer them like a pro. Like for me, uh, I know sometimes I've been told by the team that I've worked with that I'm a little strict, but maybe this is what I expect when you answer this. I was also there and I didn't know how to answer the questions well, but these are things that you can learn. These are things that you can master, and these are things that you can boost your confidence in, and you can be so good at them. Yeah. So I'm going to give you also what the recruiters look for when you are going for an interview, and the best sample answers when you're going for an interview. So you're going for a company, like for this one, it's a remote. Actually, I'm still leading the team because it's a team that I started leading. I was given the project management role that I got in, and then the first month was me to get my dream team together. Yeah, that is what I was supposed to do. So I tried to get my dream team together, and with the help of the HR of the company. And one thing that we kept on asking people, since it's a remote job, we kept on asking, have you ever worked remotely before? Have you ever worked remotely before? So what were we looking for in this question? We are looking for the experience with remote teams and time management. Okay, if you have ever worked remotely before, you don't just say yes. Tell us, what is your experience working remotely and what is your experience in managing time? Because when you come to the company, we will not be the ones to follow you. I actually don't like it. I already have a lot of things to follow up. I don't think I'm going to follow you. Finish up your deadlines. All right. So experience with remote tools and time management. So what is the best answer sample when you are asked, how have you ever worked remotely before? Just say, yes, I've worked remotely before for 2 years using tools like Slack, Trello, Zoom. Mention those tools. If you're in customer service, say the CRM tools. If you're in project management, say the project management tools. If you're in digital marketing, say whatever tools that you've been using. If you're in graphic design, say the whatever tools that you're using during your job remotely. Yeah, I'm comfortable setting my own schedule, staying motivated, staying self-motivated, and meeting the deadlines without supervision. I totally understand that some of you are just coming into remote work, so you don't know how to answer this question, or maybe your answer will be no. All right? So when you're asked, have you ever worked remotely before? Don't just say no. All right? You just say no, but I have experience in tools like Slack, Trello, Zoom, which are remote tools, and whatever tools that you know people use remotely. One thing I tell people, that before you go to an interview, make sure that you know the tools that the company you are interviewing for is using. So make sure that you know those tools and you're going to communicate those tools during the interview. And say that I'm comfortable setting my own schedule, I am able to stay self-motivated, and I'm able to meet deadlines without supervision. Yeah, you can use the same sample, but even if your answer at the first it's no. Yeah, and you can also use the same sample if your answer is yes. Okay, so let's go to the second question. How do you manage your time and stay productive when working at home? What are we looking for when you are asking you this question? We're asking you if you're disciplined, if you have a routine, and if you can deliver results. That is what we are looking for in this question, when you're asking you this question. So what is the best answer that you can give? You don't just say how do you manage your time and then you give a one answer. Please avoid giving a one word answer during an interview. Make sure that you give the whole sample, like make sure it's a sentence. So the best answer sample here is that I use time blocking. Which are the time blocking apps? Like Pomodoro. Yeah, the Pomodoro technique, which is a time blocking technique. I use time blocking technique and prioritize tasks with tools like Asana. All right, Asana is a project management tool that everyone that works remote needs to know how to use, because Asana is it's the tool that helps you to plan your tasks and prioritize which task you should do and which one you should leave for another time. And then say that I start my day with a to-do list, eliminate distractions. You can explain how you eliminate distractions and set clear goals for the day. I also take short breaks to stay afresh. So what happens is, please do not over-explain yourself. Also do not under-explain yourself with one word. Make sure that you say whatever is required to be said at that point in time. Do not over-explain yourself. Don't bring a lot of stories the way, sometimes if I have children, I have to lock them in the bedroom. Like, nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about that. Be precise, straight to the point, and very concise with your answer. Let them be relevant to the question that you've been asked for. All right? Let's go to the third question. How do you communicate with a distributed team? So what are we looking for when an interviewer asks you this question? They're looking for clear communication and collaboration skills. Collaboration skills. Yeah? Are you able to communicate clearly? And are you able to collaborate with the team that you're going to have? Most likely you're not going to have people from the same country. I'm telling you that the company that I was using to when the company that I have helped to onboard their dream team, they didn't have I don't have a Kenyan. Sorry, I didn't onboard any Kenyan in it. But I had to learn the cultures of those people. I know Nigerians, I already know their culture. I've seen it everywhere on social media. But the other teams like Philippines and everywhere, I need to have them on board. So make sure that you know how to communicate clearly and you know how to collaborate with the different cultures of the team members that are going to be in the company. So how do you answer this question? The question is, how do you communicate with a distributed team? This is what you answer. I schedule check-ins and give updates proactively. I use Slack for real-time chats, Loom for async updates, and Google Meet for team syncs. Okay? I over-communicate when needed to stay aligned. All right? That is the best sample. What are you looking? How do you communicate clearly? Right? Number one is that you give regular check-ins and you give updates proactively. You need to be so proactive in your journey as a remote worker. And then number two, you use Slack for real-time chats. What happens with Slack is that When you give a chat, even if someone is in another country, they can just come back and just see whatever you're communicating. Loom for sync. No, loom for async. What do I mean by async? Async happens when you don't have a real audience listening to you. So what do you use? You use Loom to pre-record a video, then you take the link and send it to the person that you're talking to, and they will listen later on and give you feedback the same way. And then Google Meet for sync. Syncs are those that now you have a live audience that is listening to you, be it online. Yeah, mostly online. So use Google Meet or Zoom if Zoom is your app. All right. And then I over communicate when needed to stay aligned. Make sure that you communicate that when you're doing an interview. What is the fourth question that you expect during a remote interview? What do you do if your internet goes down during a deadline or a meeting? Yeah, very common question, because for us who are in Africa, we are expected to have an internet downtime. So what happens when your internet goes down during a deadline or a meeting? Yeah, so what are they looking for in this question? They're looking for your problem solving. I'm so sorry, I started recording this video with no noise, and all of a sudden I've just noticed that there's a lot of noise in my background. So I'm so sorry about the noise in the background. There's a construction site just next to my house, and it's causing all these problems. Yeah, regardless, the video has to go on. All right, so what do you do if your internet goes down during a deadline or a meeting? What you do, what they're looking for is your problem solving and responsibility. Are you able to take responsibility, and are you able to solve a problem immediately it comes up? Because sometimes your internet buffers during a meeting, yeah, or you have a deadline today and your internet just gets lost, or your electricity just gets lost. Like in African countries, mostly we see that the internet can just go off anytime it likes to go off, or electricity can just go for 1 day or 24 hours. So what they're looking is, how can you solve such a problem? What is the responsibility? Can you take responsibility when it comes to that? Yeah. So what is the best answer? You can say the best answer here is, I always have a backup plan. My mobile hotspot is nearby, and then you have my mobile hotspot, and you have a nearby co-working spaces. I work remotely, and I'll tell you that I recently had to get a co-working space. It's not a co-working space, but just a office in Westlands, just in case my electricity goes off, just in case my internet goes off. And also I knew that I needed people to meet physical. There are those who want coaching for remote work, and they need to be met physical. That is when they feel they can understand whatever is going on. And it's too risky also to just meet people in the hotel. Yeah, I'm a girl. I'm a baby girl too, to be precise. So that is why I took up an office space in a public space in Westlands, right? And also it's there just as a backup. It's a 15 minutes motorbike drive to there. And I know that I can communicate in the 15 minutes and then go and continue with my work. And then it's a space that I already know electricity is there 24/7. They have a backup generator, and then the internet is there 24/7. All right. So it gives me the privilege. So also, if you're choosing a co-working space as a remote worker, make sure that that co-working space is a space that when electricity gets lost in Kenya, or for example Nigeria, them they have electricity 24/7. So I always have a backup plan, mobile hotspot, and nearby co-working spaces. So let me go back to the question so that I can answer it. What will you do if your internet goes down during a deadline or a meeting? I always have a backup plan, my mobile hotspot, and a nearby co-working space. I would inform the team immediately and continue using mobile data, or move to an alternate location. That is how you answer that question, and answer it with confidence. Do not be anxious. Do not shake and everything. It destroys your confidence and your chance to get that job. So what is the fifth question? This is the last question that I'm going to talk about. How do you deal with isolation when working remotely? I can tell you sometimes it can be so tough to work remotely. Imagine you do not have a person next to you to talk to. So how do you deal with this. Yeah, maybe sometime later we'll have a mental health talk about working remotely, because I've had the first experience of it. All right. So what they are looking for is your emotional intelligence and self-awareness. Are you emotionally intelligent and are you self-aware? When someone asks you this question, you need to show how emotionally intelligent you are and how self-aware you are when answering this. Yeah. So what is the best answer that you can give? I stay connected daily. I stay connected through daily stand-ups, virtual coffee chats, and community groups. I also set social time outside work to avoid burnout. That is how you answer that question. And you know, sometimes you can even talk like that, and you can even tell them that you have meetups with friends every once a week, every Saturday, every off day, your off day, you make sure that you go out to meet your friends. Talk about the things that you do to keep your mental health sane, to keep your mental health, to deal with isolation when you're working remotely. Talk about the church groups that you go. Talk about, I don't know where you people go to socialize, but talk about the things that you do to go out and socialize. Okay, so those are the 5 questions that we used. They were common to all the remote workers. Yeah, and then they are now the technical that we now ask according to your skill that you're bringing to the company. All right, so these are the most common questions, but these ones are a deal breaker if you don't know how to answer them. If you tell me that you have ever worked, if I ask you that if you have ever worked remotely and you just tell me yes without an explanation, you lose a chance to get that job. So make sure that you answer that question. Another question that maybe I will add as a bonus question, it's not among the 5, is why do you want to work remotely? Yeah, so mostly for those of you who are most of you who are getting from physical into remote work. Yeah, you've never worked remotely and now this is your chance for you to work remotely. How do you answer this? So I'll tell you one thing. I've asked people this question. I've coached people, no more than 50 people to get into remote work. As I record this video, it's more than 50 people now. And let me tell you, what do you want to work remotely? Why do you want to work remotely? Everyone tells me flexibility. I know also you have answered flexibility. More money. Yeah, I've seen you also answered that. Please don't answer that way during an interview. What an interviewer is looking for is your genuine interest and alignment to the company goals. So what is the best answer that you can give at this point? Just say that I enjoy the flexibility and focus that remote work offers. I am productive in my own space and I love the opportunity to collaborate across cultures and time zones. The other best answer question is I would love to explore global opportunities and I really love to learn from people from other cultures. Imagine, it's a good, don't just say flexibility and money. Yeah. Thank you so much for watching this video up to this point, and I'm looking forward to see you next week, the same time, same place. And share this video with other people who want to get into remote work or people who want to do remote interviews, because remote interviews are not just about your skill, they're about how well you can work independently and how you can communicate. Yeah, so if you need help, you can subscribe and get more about job tips. Thank you so much and bye. Subscribe.